We conclude today, chapter 19. Chapter 19 in one word is ner, a flame. What is the nature of the Jewish soul? It is a flame that flickers up. It wants to be enveloped into something greater than itself. It doesn't want to fill itself and become more. It wants to lose its identity and be lost in the source of where it comes from. Chachma, above, the Ein Sof of God, the limitlessness of God, it wants to be absorbed in, as we have learned. And therefore, that's the nature of its love, a unique kind of love. And that leads a person, as a result, that they're ready to give up their lives. Something the Alter Rebbe will continue with this idea now. So, how is it possible then, if we have this kind of soul, that we do something wrong, that we do something sinful? So Alter Rebbe explains, because only the spirit of folly that enters. If we have this chachma of the soul that is bound up with the Ein Sof, the limitlessness of God, that gives us the capacity to totally connect to God, out of this love, a desire that it has to be connected with our source, then how do we do anything wrong? Because the spirit of folly that enters, what does that spirit of folly do to us? It allows us to think that we're not disconnected from our source in the moment of doing something wrong, of doing something sinful. How does that work within the soul? So the Alter Rebbe explains, is because we have the essence of the soul as it's found in the mind, in the brain, and then you have the hispashtus, the what's the word I'm looking for? The way it diffuses and animates beyond the essence of the soul. So the essence of the soul, it remains always complete. But the diffusion of the soul could become in exile, could become locked in a hidden love. In a sackcloth is the metaphor of klipa, and the left part of the heart. And it's in a true state of exile. What does it mean, exile? It means it can't affect the individual. That connection, that faith that the soul has, that desire that it wants to be totally only but connected with its source above, is ineffective. It can't diffuse that sentiment, that awareness, that feeling, whatever you want to call it, that reality to my thought, speech, and action. And therefore my thought, speech, and action could be in a spirit of folly. However, when it comes to something that touches the very core and essence of that soul, the chokhmah, that way it's bound up. In other words, the core of that soul is unadulterated, is not affected. It's the diffusion of it, diffusion of the soul, meaning how it's affecting me in my thought, speech, and action. Well, there maybe it's ineffective, but in the core, it's always there. It hasn't changed, and that's why born a Jew, die a Jew, you are a Jew, that doesn't change the core essence. And therefore, when it will come to a test of faith, of martyrdom, for the most part, Jews gave up their lives. Because what happened then? What happened is you touch the core of your soul, where that connection has not been, is not in exile, and it now becomes diffused in the rest of your being, and it takes you over. And then the spirit of folly, of disconnect, cannot affect you. And now you truly feel that connection. You sense that connection to such a degree that you think, speak, and act that way, and therefore you give up your life as a result. In other words, another metaphor that the Alter Rebbe uses is that When you're asleep, is your faculty of chachma there? Yes. The faculty of chachma of your soul, as we translate wisdom, but is it there? Absolutely. But it's not functioning. It's not effective. It's asleep. It's dormant. But it could be awoken anytime. So that faculty of chachma that we have of the soul that is completely nullified to its source can be awoken at any time. When will it be awoken? A time of martyrdom. I don't want to give up my faith. I don't want to give up my connection to God. I don't want to give up my Jewishness. And then it becomes effective. It awakens from its dormancy. And then it affects you. It diffuses now into the rest of your being, meaning it's affecting you in your thought, your speech, and your actions. And then your action will be one of martyrdom. Your speech will even be one that, even if it's not acting it out, like you don't believe in the bowing to the idolatry or whatever, or you're just giving lip service to it, you won't even do that. You won't even do that, as the Alter Rebbe explains. Powerful idea. So, in conclusion, the Alter Rebbe says that if and with this we can understand also how fear is part of the love of the soul, the hidden love of the soul. Because fear is the fear of disconnect. Because I have this love that the soul wants to be a part of its source, like the flame wants to flicker out and become part of its source in the sublunar source of fire. So likewise, the soul wants to be part of its source. So just as it wants to be part of its source, it does want to disconnect from its source, and that's the idea of fear. So every love has the flip side of fear as a result, as we see in human relations also, that idea. So the bottom line is that what we learned in these two chapters, 18 and 19, is that a Jew will consider to willingly give up their lives rather than be disconnected from God when it comes to a question of their faith, martyrdom. Therefore, one should realize that certainly you should refrain from doing something sinful for the very same reason, because doing something sinful, whether it's a question of martyrdom or not, is the same disconnect. And therefore, that's on the negative side. And on the positive side, that we ought to have the love of God in fulfillment day in, day out in Torah and mitzvahs as a result of the hidden love that we have, that we reveal it in expressing it, in fulfilling that which God needs from us, which is our study of Torah, as we're doing now, and our mitzvahs. How we get there? Well, that's going to be chapters 20 through 25. How do we achieve that? What's the awareness that we have that we can own this idea, that it becomes really a part of us? Stay tuned. Over the basis we've just been given, the fundament is something we take home. The essence of the soul cannot be adulterated. Therefore, Jew is a Jew is a Jew. And therefore, the Jew doesn't want to lose that connection as a Jew when it comes then to martyrdom. The folly is that we think that it's only then. But anytime that we think, speak, or act in a way that is wrong, inappropriate, sinful, there's a disconnect. How do you compare the two things? Well, more to come on that. That's it, folks. Well, I don't know if that's it. That's a lot, folks, for today to live with. George from Romania, thank you for joining. Karen from California, Boker Tov, and Susan from Scranton, Pennsylvania. Who do we have on Instagram over here? Hirschfield. Yes, may we always have the light from Hashem. Give us Birmingham, UK, Minnie. From Argentina, Valentine, I don't know if I got that right. Mary Ellen from Connecticut, or no, how do we keep connected? Well, that's going to be chapters 20 to 25. Stay tuned. Right, from Toronto, we have Marilyn with us. We have Ahmed with us. Where are you from? Ahmed, please let us know. Yoing from Canada. All right, fellow Canadian. Jose, thank you for joining. Jenna, Boker Tov. Mary from Israel. Andrew from New Jersey. Jordan. Says that the spirit of folly gets him every time. Gets us all every time, right? But that's already a level of an awareness, by the way, that it is the spirit of folly that enters our head and allows us to think, I'm not going to be disconnected with this. Yeah. Anna from Norway. Thank you. Joatha from Brazil. Julie from Florida. And thank you. Ashley. Thank you for sharing. Maria, Darren. From Saskatchewan, I'm trying to understand what you're saying. I'll have to ponder it. Thank you for sharing, Darren. Casey, shalom. Richard from Indianapolis, Indiana. Good morning. Rodriguez, good morning. Lioness, thank you. Veris, shalom. Fidel from California. Susan from Florida. All right. Vadim from Detroit, from Colorado. Mary Ellen, Marilyn from Delaware. All right, folks. Sharing is caring. We need to care. And we need to take responsibility. How do we take responsibility? Well, we learn we have to live with. And we have to care for another and therefore share it with another. So please do share the Alter Rebbe's teachings with others. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zich in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Have a wonderful day.